Hey everybody, welcome to part 4 of the Let's Play Leek Kerbal Space Program. I'm John as always, and we're here in Mission Control where we've got some contracts. I'm not going to do most of these contracts yet anyway. Some of these will be fun, a lot of these I haven't done yet, but some are difficult to do this early on. Namely, ferrying tourists means that we need seats. We need command pods that are bigger, or we need empty spaces so that we can actually have tourists on our ships. Currently, the only part we have allows a single crew member, and we need them to fly the ship, so we won't be doing those. Also, these test part ones are pretty difficult as well. It's not difficult to, use a fuel booster in flight over Kerbin. The trick is all the parameters you see there on the right-hand side. You have to be flying. You have to be at Kerbin. The tricky part, you have to be 20 kilometers to 28 kilometers and be going 300 meters per second to 1100 meters per second and activate a stage that has this part in order to fulfill this contract. Some parts you'll naturally be at that height, at that speed when you activate them. Other parts it's going to be much trickier to meet all of those coordinates. So I don't tend to like to do them all that often unless it's one that I know that I can do. Unfortunately, I did one on a video that kind of blew up. The ship didn't blow up, the video blew up because I was accidentally recording to a USB drive and not to my hard drive. So I hit the 8 gigabyte limit of the USB key and everything just fell apart. But we succeeded and we did that contract, and the reason we did that is because it was testing a booster on the launch pad, so from the start, and that of course is really easy to do. There's no speed requirements or height requirements, you just have to be on the launch pad. The other contract I was doing, and is what we're going to be doing this video, is orbit Kerbin. In fact, we have it active here. We are going to orbit Kerbin, or at least we're going to try to. And for that we need an orbiter, a ship that will get us there. And here's one that I already built before the videos died. This is Mark II of the hopefully gonna orbit ship. Mark I, I had some wings up on this main stage as well, and it didn't like that at all. I think maybe because I had 3, whereas I have 4 down on the first stage there, and the ship just went crazy. Despite having so many engines and fuel and boosters and whatnot, we ended up setting down pretty close to the space center just because we did so many cartwheels, and I eventually just sort of flew it back to the space center to land there. But we're going to give this guy a try and hopefully get to orbit in this video. So here we are, the hopefully gonna make it to orbit Mark II. It's unfortunate you guys didn't see Mark I. It was spectacular in its failure. But we're going to turn on SAS, give Jebediah some control here, and we're going to go. So our aim here is to get to about 80 kilometers, maybe 90 kilometers above Kerbin, and then make our path go from being sort of a parabolic arc to being a circle. We're going to attempt to fall back to Kerbin and always miss it. That is, of course, what orbiting is. So our ship is spinning a little bit here. You can see it sort of rotating. There goes that stage. There they go. I always like watching the radial stages fall back. Uh-oh. Got some tilt happening here, but it looks much more controllable than normal. Yeah, that's a bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to tilt our rocket a little bit, and this is going to help us get to orbit. If we can push against the thrust there. Can't quite get it to fall over. There we go. So there's that stage done. We're going to jettison it off. We're going to stabilize our rocket and then launch the next engine. So what I'm doing is I'm tilting the rocket to about a 45-degree angle. Orbit, we might already be there. Okay, so we're actually about to hit where we need to be. So I'm going to get us a little bit higher. Holy, this is really hard to control at the moment. Let's turn SAS back on. There we go. So I'm going to give it a little bit of juice, just for a bit, and then turn the throttle off, because we can do that because we have liquid engines now. And we're going to check the map, and we're going to see how high we're going to go. We're going to hit 84, so that's good to me. So I have to do this really quick. We're going to add a maneuver, and this is a little node, and we can pull this little nozzle here, and you see it's pushing us out. It's pushing us into an orbit. So if we zoom out, we see that eventually we will be in a very not circular orbit, but an orbit nonetheless. Periapsis of 34, that's a bit too low. This is not a pretty orbit, but it's an orbit. Make it a bit bigger. 66. If we're below, I believe, about 65, we're actually going to skim the atmosphere, which will, whoops, slow us down. Okay, something's wonky with this orbit. 1 second. I don't have 1 second. Actually, we need to go up higher. We need to go up higher. So let's full force this rocket here. Get our apoapsis a bit higher. Get it further away. We're only a minute now away from our highest. There we go. That should be good. So let's try this maneuver node again. We put it on and we stretch it out. And that's going to make a bit more of a circular orbit. Still not super circular, but there. So 103 and 136. That's fine by me. So these maneuver nodes, they don't do anything. They don't control the rocket. They don't get us there. But it tells us where we need to point our ship. So we have this blue node down here. The green, without an X, is which way we're going. The blue is which way we need to fire. So we need to fire our rocket in this direction in order to get ourselves to that dotted line. In order to get our real line to that dotted line. It also tells us that we need to burn for 40 seconds. And I'm going to burn right now and then talk about why. So you don't actually, so down here there's the node in T minus. So in 15 seconds we're going to hit that maneuver node that I set. The reason you don't fire when you get to the maneuver node is you need to actually do half of your burn before the maneuver node and half after in order to get on the path that you want. So I miscalculated. We didn't actually have 40 seconds of fuel. We had 20 seconds of fuel. So we're not going to orbit here. Probably due to my mistakes. Probably also due to that kind of floppy sort of exit we had from the atmosphere. So we're going to quickly finish up this flight, and we're going to try again. We're going to get some science off of this if we can. Mystery goo, sure. Crew report, already done. All right, so we're just going to come back to Kerbin, and we'll try this again. Alright, so we're back on Kerbin, and we're going to try to modify our ship a little bit. I think we might add a single fuel canister up here on the top stage, just to give us a little bit more time. So we're going to pop one more of these on. That'll add more weight, which is going to make it harder for us to get up there, but hopefully we can still do it. And we're going to launch and try to get back into orbit. Alright, turn on SAS, and we are a go. Alright, so that was a bit more of a stable fly up here outside of the atmosphere. So we're going to hopefully be able to make it this time. So our apoapsis is at 75, 77, 80, 85, 90. Let's cut the engines there. And that should give us more than enough time. More than enough time. So we're going to set our maneuver node just like we did last time. Let's get things situated here. So we want to do our maneuver at the apoapsis. We want to power up until we get a basically circular orbit. And we get a circular orbit, of course, when the apoapsis flies off the left-hand side of the screen and the periapsis almost flies up the right side of the screen. That'll give us 91 and 94, a very circular orbit. Not perfect, but basically there. It's going to require another 42-second burn. I think we should have that much left. I hope. We brought this whole extra fuel tank just for this. So we're going to tilt our rocket to that blue node. Get it on there. There we go. That looks about right. So it's 42 seconds. That means that we need to burn for 21 seconds before the node and 21 seconds after the node. So you see the nodes coming up in 52 seconds. So at T-minus 21, we're going to burn full blast, hopefully for 42 seconds. And that should put us in a 91, 92-ish kilometer orbit around Kerbin. So we are getting there. We are down to T-minus 34 seconds. 10 seconds to go. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make rockets go now. Alright, so it's burning. You can see our estimated burn is dropping. 32 seconds, 31 seconds, 30 seconds. You can see we're getting closer to the node. I'm doing some mild corrections to keep us on that blue node there. We've got 20 seconds left. Our fuel is ticking down over there on the left-hand side, but I think we've got this. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I cut the tanks a little bit because I was worried, and I feel like I should have been worried because we might not be coming back to Kerbin. Oh no, we're going to come back to Kerbin. Because I cut the engines a little bit, I did screw up the orbit. But I was suddenly terrifyingly worried that Jebediah was just going to be stuck in orbit for forever. He's luckily not. He's just going to come down on the other side of Kerbin. So we're going to bring Jebediah back down to Kerbin, and we're going to try this one last time for this video because I know we can do this. I know we can do this. Alright, so we're back here with the hopefully going to make it to orbit Mark IV, I guess this will be. And to mark the occasion of the Mark IV, we're going to add a 4th fuel tank. More fuel gets us there farther, faster, hopefully not too much heavier. This will be the last attempt for the video. I really hope that we make it here, but we are going to try our best. You know what? Because we're not going to be doing too much science up in orbit, I might actually take off the goo canisters, and that'll save us a little teeny tiny bit of weight. But we're going to launch this and hopefully make it. So we're here, and you might notice a little bit of a change in crew. We have Valentina Kerman down here. Jebediah Kerman might have had a bit of an accident on that almost orbit flight that we had there. Didn't quite make it to the video, but he didn't land so well because I was a bit too hasty with my time acceleration. He'll be back. He will live again. He just is briefly out of commission. If that happens with one of the non-original 4 pilots, they're just dead forever. And we're going to be starting to use these sort of white-suited astronauts before too long. We just need some cash to get there. But we're going to go, and hopefully Valentina can get us into orbit. Alright, so another fairly smooth first couple of stages here. We are up to 85, and let's cut it there. Let's see if we can do this. We've got almost full fuel tanks. We should be able to do this because it should again be about a 40-second burn. So we're going to add our maneuver. We're going to pull on that tab until the apoapsis and periapsis which is the furthest point of your orbit and closest point of your orbit to the body that you're orbiting, are about equal. There they are, about equal. Let's zoom out a bit. 110. Wow. Okay, we're not going to be getting a circular orbit here. We're a little bit off. What we can do is we can move this to sort of shift which way they're going, but it may not super be worth it. They look pretty good there. 97 and 77. So if we pull a little bit, we can get 98, 79. I want to get that above 80 on the other side. 80 and 100. All right, so we're off by about 20 kilometers on either side. 1 minute, 2 seconds. Something's pretty wrong there. Something is pretty wrong there. Should not be that long at all. But we need to do this very quickly. Very quickly. 1 minute, 3 seconds. Oh, I bet I know what it is. Nope, I don't know what it is. Oh, I know what it is. Never mind. We're just going to go full blast, and we're going to sort of wing this. The reason it's taking so much longer than I thought is because we added a full fuel tank that's full of fuel. It's really heavy. It's going to take even longer for us to get to where we want to be going. So we are going to just say goodbye, maneuver node. We are going to just fly by the seat of our pants and see if we can do it. We are going. We are expanding our orbit here. But I don't know if we're going to make it on this trip. There's still a fair bit of fuel left. We're almost around. We're almost around. There we are. We've got a periapsis of 71. That is an orbit. Our contract has been completed. We have successfully put a Kerbonaut into orbit. The trick is we have a tiny amount of fuel left. Little thin green bar. Luckily, it's not going to take too much fuel to slow down for us to re-enter the atmosphere. We can't really do a crew report. We've done a lot of crew reports from space already. But yeah, we need to slow down now. We need to make sure that we get ourselves back to Kerbin. So what we can do is up here at the apoapsis, we can put on a maneuver node. And so we've been pulling on this one, the prograde vector. We can pull on the retrograde vector, and that's going to slow us down. So we slow down, and you see the periapsis disappear to 12 kilometers. 12 kilometers is nothing. That's fully in the atmosphere. And the estimated burn doesn't even show up. It's literally 0 seconds. Literally a tiny little burst on our engines will change our orbit enough to put us back on Kerbin. Once you get into space, unless you're doing things like transferring to other planets, you really need just tiny little bursts of thrust in order to do pretty big things to your orbits. You'll see that a lot when we're going to the moon, which is just out here, not too far away. And that won't be too far in our future, probably only a video or two before we're going to start trying to go to the moon. We won't be landing on the moon for a while, but we can go to the moon and have a visit. But we are going to speed up time to get ourselves to that vector, that maneuver node that we placed. We're going to slow it down, and we're going to give ourselves just a little burst of fuel. So we're going to go full blast. You see the throttle just went up. I turned it off, and already we're going to crash back down to Kerbal. Or are we? We are. 17 kilometers. And we can just actually use up all of our fuel, burning prograde to slow us right down. Because you should always use up your fuel. You want to use that fuel in space so you don't pollute Kerbin. That's not actually a part of the game, but so be it. But here we are. We have successfully orbited Kerbin. Let me speed up time a little bit. We're coming back around. You can see this lovely galaxy nebula in the background here. There's another galaxy off there. It's nighttime on Kerbin. The sun, of course, is behind the planet, but we're going to come back down. So let's speed time up a little bit. We're going to start experiencing re-entry effects soon. So I'm going to slow time down, throw away that stage of the rocket, and have Valentina point us in the direction that we're falling so that we take the full brunt of all of that fiery, fiery, fiery goodness on the heat shield. This is really hard to control for the moment. There we go. So we can speed time back up again. Here we are on re-entry. Heat shield's going to take the full brunt of it. Be totally fine. And we are not going to be too hasty with the speed and have Valentina have the same fate as Jebediah did. So we are at 8,000, 7,000, 6,000, 5,000, 4,000, 3,000. We can slow time down. Just heard a rocket blow up somewhere. We're going to shoot out the parachute, and we are going to settle down on whatever region this might happen to be. Let's check the crew report. The Kerbin's Highlands, so we can actually get some science for that. And then we can have Valentina come out, and she can take a sample, or not a sample, rather, an EVA report from the Highlands. There we go. And then she can get back in. Oops, she got a bit too excited there. She can get back in, get back into the ship, and we can recover that. So we have successfully, it took 4 tries, but we successfully orbited Kerbin. Orbiting is the first step to visiting the entire solar system. You need to park yourself in orbit so that you can then fly off to other places, and that's going to be something that we investigate in the future. We've got ourselves a whole bunch of science, so the last thing we're going to do is see how we can spend that science. So we've got 81.9, so we can check out advanced rocketry. We can get a Terrier engine. I'll talk about those engines at a future time. There's also a much larger fuel tank, which is nice to have. We can get some various construction things, decouplers, adapters, stuff like that. Not super important. There's a whole aviation section. I have not really played around too much with the aviation, other than to know that I'm terrible at it, which will make for some very entertaining videos in the future. Flight control is still on the aviation, and we've got basic science, which has a very cool thing, the Stay Putnik. This is an unmanned command center. So we need batteries, which we happen to have batteries here, and we need solar panels, ideally, which are going to be a little bit later on. But we can send up rockets that have nobody on them, and that means that we can make satellites that orbit Kerbin and send data. We can send unmanned satellites off to other places and do some really cool things. So we're going to research basic science. It also gives us a thermometer, which lets us get more science. So we get that, and unfortunately that's all we can afford here. But I will see you guys for the next video, where we are going to check out the contracts and see what else is available to us, hopefully get some more money, and hopefully start exploring space a little bit more. As always, if you enjoy these videos, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you want to see on this channel. I've got a pretty good idea of another series I'm going to be starting up pretty soon. This is going to be a games channel. It's not just a Kerbal Space Program channel, as much as it seems so far. But trust me on that, I've got some cool ideas. If you have any games that you want to see me play, that you think I would have fun, that you think you would have fun watching me have fun playing, let me know for sure. You definitely should like my videos if you like them, with the little thumbs up icon. That'll keep them rising up the ranks. And also subscribe to my channel. There's a button below each video and one in the outro of each video. That'll keep you up to date on each video as they get posted, each new series as they pop up, and everything that I'm going to throw on up to this channel. As always, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you all next time.